Hello everybody, and welcome to this first video on the Degama Travel YouTube channel. I started Degama Travel as a written blog about 3-4 years ago now, and I started it because I like travel stories. I like to tell them, I like to hear them, I like to share them, and I decided I wanted to share them with a larger audience. And I particularly like writing, so I decided to make a written blog first. But I always planned to make a video channel as well, because I quite enjoyed video editing even from quite a young age. A bizarre thing to enjoy, but there you go. So, as I happened to be planning a trip for a weekend away from Bangkok to the beach, and I was coming to a hotel with a little bit of personal significance to me, I decided what best time is there than now to start the Degama Travel YouTube channel. So, without any further ado, I'd like to welcome you to both this first video and to the Regent Cha Am. Whoops. Sorry, these drones are tricky to fly sometimes. Anyway, this is indeed the Regent Cha Am. It is a 442-room, 4-star resort about 2.5 hours drive southwest of Bangkok. So what makes this particular hotel so special to me? Well, it is the first hotel I ever stayed at in Thailand. My dad and my stepmom moved out here in 1997, and they brought myself and my brother, as well as my stepmom's son and his girlfriend, out to see them towards the end of 1998. I remember it was the end of 98 because they had a big buffet dinner right here, just outside of the main restaurant and near the pool. And they had the words Happy New Year 1999 floating out there in ice blocks on the swimming pool itself. Speaking of that main restaurant, let's check out the breakfast buffet. It was a little diminished from what I remember before, simply I suspect because of the reduced number of guests. And there was obviously an Asian focus as well because there aren't that many Western tourists right now, but it was still very tasty. There is a second restaurant, an Italian one, on the beach, but because of COVID they are currently running a diminished service. The elevators gave me a dose of nostalgia because I still remember that old display from 1998. But heading up to the room, I had a twin room because all of the double pool view rooms were unfortunately all occupied, so they just shoved the twin beds together. But it was nice and spacious and had obviously been renovated at some point since 1998 because they're actually in genuinely good condition. They all have a nice big balcony with a view out over the main pool. I describe this as the main pool because there are actually two others in separate sections of the hotel, which are just up and down the beach in either direction. But this main pool is pretty nice, pretty big. Not massively deep, it's very family friendly, as you can see here. But if you don't like the pool, there's always the beach. It's a pretty nice beach, not exactly white sand, there's a slightly reddish hue. The sea is very calm, although it's said to be full of jellyfish as well, so it's not terribly wise to stray too far into it. However, when I was staying here with my family in the late 90s, early 2000s, we actually generally stayed down at the Regent Chalets, this section. We generally stayed here because it was much quieter and we had more of the pool to ourselves, unlike the main pool, which was often crowded. But as you can see, COVID has had its impact, and with fewer guests, they've just mothballed this entire section of the hotel. In fact, a security guard came along and told me to push off, so I wasn't able to get too much footage. But even staying in the main hotel, it's still a very relaxing place and highly recommended.